Welcome to this edition of Trading Bits Bytes. I'm Susan. Lots of things happening. We know guys are in the field trying to get this harvest done. We're going to talk a little bit about China and their commitment they're talking about that could affect what you're harvesting right now. And of course, the beans had some choppiness this past weekend. Wrapping it all up, it's harvest days and lack thereof to our neighbors. PJ Conradt is joining us today with Trade Oss, and I think first and foremost, China. It's like the topic that nobody wants to talk about.
But it's talked about every day.
Yes.
So, no, I mean, that commitment is big, but it takes us back to 2017 type levels. And you go back to, I think, 2012, they had like 29 billion roughly. So the question is going to be is how much do they need that and how much are they pushing this ahead because of issues they've had, whether it be the swine flu or whatever. And either maybe bean reserves and corn reserves are lower than what they maybe anticipated. So there's a lot to be said about it, and it definitely gives us a push higher in the markets, or at least supports things. I don't know what that does to bean price. Still think we're more sensitive today to what happens domestically with our bean yields. And depending on where you're looking, like you said, delayed harvest out east is going to have a lingering effect on the bean yields moving forward too.
Well, that choppiness we've seen in the soybeans this whole past week, in part because of these harvest delays?
Yeah, I really think so. Trade doesn't know where they want to go with it. November 8th is our next really definitive yield number that's going to come out. And a lot of rains out east, so bean progress is going to be slow, so is corn progress this coming Monday. I just think you got to feed a bull market daily, and we haven't had the proverbial hay to feed that bull to keep this thing moving higher. So that being said, we're going to chop sideways until we have the hay on hand to feed it, or we're going to watch this thing die a slow death. And hopefully that doesn't happen. I mean, a lot of years we have seen, especially beans, the 5-year average, maybe more trends higher into December. USDA typically overstates bean carryouts early in the spring, and they did that this year, and things have really came full circle. So I think there's a lot to be said on the bean side. I'm just cautiously optimistic about beans because of how much they broke our heart in the last year or two. It's like fool me once, shame on you, China. Fool me for the 1,000th time, shame on us. So take advantage of the 60-cent rally we've roughly had in soybeans and focus on next year's crop. Or if you want some reownership, be responsible about the percentage you do that on and say, I'll do it on a third of my crop, that if I do watch it go back to 880, I'm not taking that hit across my whole farm.
It has been a quieter type of trade, and that's okay right now because guys are so busy focusing on trying to get this harvest done. At least they don't have to temporarily, that is, worry about the fast pace of this market.
Definitely. I mean, I think you want kind of these slower markets during harvest, especially when logistics are an issue. We've seen some ethanol plants shut down early because they're getting full, basis changing in spots. So they've already got a lot of moving parts about where they just want the crop out of the ground now. And so you talk to guys, they maybe know what the market's going on or they don't, but it's nice to have it be quiet. So if you say, well, yeah, whatever reason, I didn't sell it yesterday or 2 days ago, there's not a 20-cent swing. There's a 5-cent, 3-cent, 4-cent, 0-cent difference. So it kind of alleviates one thing, maybe a little bit in the forefront of their mind, and marketing is not in the forefront of their mind this time of year. It's about getting the crop out of the ground. And so it's a good thing, I think, for producers, especially as we move forward. You get post-harvest here, and things are going to heat back up.
They'll be welcoming that cold snap that's supposed to be coming in so we can finally maybe put a stop to this crop.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, finally, we're going to get some really good hard freeze frost come next week. Hopefully get a good frost for Nebraska this weekend and pick up a W there, but we'll see what happens. And I think you look at the Dakotas, they really need that hard ground to get after the crop, and I think we have parts in Nebraska too that could use this to dry down a little bit more. So it seems like Mother Nature's really thrown us for a loop all year, but it's also given us some times of very timely things we needed too. So you can't curse her too much, but it's been a devil of 2019. Before
we wrap up, I wanted to ask you real quick about this cash cattle market. Nice to see some higher numbers for these guys midweek, headed into a weekend, so maybe we won't have to deal with the Saturday sales.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still might have to, but it will be. I mean, it is nice to see things kind of transpire. It's nice to see the board working higher. Moving forward, we'll see what cattle bring, but Lord knows the feedlot guy can use a little help here too.
Very much. Thanks, PJ.
Thank you.
PJ Conradt joining us today from Trade Oss. It's this week's edition of Trading Bits and Bytes. I'm Susan Littlefield.